right, welcome back to the Rush Hour Podcast, the 15-minute podcast where we talk about various Yu-Gi-Oh topics. And today we're going to be talking about the feeling of winning. So I'm going to start the timer now. And yeah, so both of us have won events this year, and I won events long ago in the prehistoric age. So I definitely want to just kind of give some insight on what that was like for both of us. And I'll actually let you start off because you won 2 events in Edison in less than a year. And what was it like winning RBET Orlando last year?
Yeah, that I was a completely unknown player. Completely did not expect to even. Well, I didn't want to top, but I did not expect to win at all. And when I won, it was the first thing was relief. Like, oh my god, like it's finally over because I was just locked in for so long.
Yeah.
And then after it sunk in, like 10 minutes later, when people are like congratulating me and I got the dark end, I was like on cloud 50. It was just it's the most unbelievable feeling. I like, since I've never won before that, I was always wondering how it felt, and it truly felt like something I could never explain in words.
Yeah, it's very hard.
When people say it's the best feeling in the world, like it is definitely like really high up there. They are not kidding. I was on that high for like a week. I couldn't sleep that night. I normally am really easy. It's really easy for me to fall asleep, and that night on the airplane, I was just on the high for so long. I was up for almost like 24 hours straight, and I can never do that normally. Oh god, I'm getting high just thinking about it. And then
Yeah.
and then when I won Raleigh, I thought I was going to be like relieved again. But that one, I don't know what came over me. I popped off. I jumped off, like up on my chair and like slammed the table.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. There's like, I actually took a picture of it. I put on my video, but yeah, it's just like that one I really popped off for because I really wanted a second one and I didn't think I would get it so fast. And yeah, like again, just the high is just so phenomenal. You just put so many hours and grind so much, and the fact that it pays off is just, it's too good.
Yeah, I agree with what you said. There's a lot of things I want to cover in this particular episode. So let's talk about the first time I won a YCS. 2010, Atlanta, Gravekeepers. Everyone knows that story. Played my best friend in the finals, or one of my best friends, Sean McCabe. And after I won, yes, I was extremely happy, but there was also a part of me that was afraid to be too happy because me winning meant he had to lose. And normally, like, if I win any YCS that my friends enter, right, that means that they all lost in that YCS. But this was it's a 1v1. It came down to a 1v1 between me and him. He's the last opponent. So my victory meant his loss, which definitely did actually make me feel a little bit like almost like guilty for beating him, right? Because you don't want your friend to be sad, and when he gave me the handshake, there was a feeling of like sadness in his eyes and like in his body language. And I mean, I would be too, obviously, if I lost the finals of a YCS. It's definitely not a pleasant feeling, but it is what it is. And so I wasn't able to like truly pop off too crazy right there in that moment. Jarrell, I remember, picked me up. Jarrell Winston, shout out to him. He picked me up, lifted me up in the air and everything like that. And then we did like an interview and all that stuff. It didn't feel real. It was my first ever top. So me and you have this in common. It was my first time ever topping anything. I'm a completely random player, basically, although I had regional tops, but that, again, doesn't really mean anything. But at the time, I was a completely random player, unknown player, I should say. And that was my first victory. That was my first victory. So it just seemed like a lot at once. Like all at once, now you're getting a shit ton of friend requests on Facebook. At the time, Facebook was the biggest I think it still is considered the biggest social media platform, despite the fact that a lot of people don't use it anymore, but it is still the number one. I was getting a lot of friend requests. And then a lot of my friends texting me congratulations, a lot of people calling me. It seemed like a dream. And what scared me, and this is a legitimate thing, I'll never forget this. I was afraid to go to sleep that night, and I didn't, because I thought that if I went to sleep, I would wake up from it. Like I genuinely, and I think that there's the adrenaline rush too, right? And that's probably what you felt when you won. You said like you couldn't sleep that night. Normally you're quick to sleep, but you couldn't.
Yep. Dude, I'm feeling right now. Oh my god.
Yeah, it's scary. So I couldn't sleep that night, and I was afraid to, like, genuinely afraid to go to sleep, because I was like, I'm going to go to sleep and I'm going to wake up, and none of this happened. And I think that I annoyed my friends. I remember I went with a group of people. It was like Arthur Pisco, Jeff Walker, aka Meatball, Sean McCabe, of course, and then like a bunch of other Philly natives and stuff like that were there at the event. Like Steve Silverman was there, Sushant. There was a lot of people, but I remember talking about it constantly. just talking about like my rounds, and I played this guy and this happened, and in top 32 I did this, and this one guy tried to dust tornado my Necro Valley while I had my left Extartus on the field, and I told him to read the card, and then he read it, then he tried to put his dust tornado back face down, and the judge was like, you activated that dust tornado, you are allowed to legally activate it, but Maleficent Stardust prevents it from being destroyed, so I'm going to ask you to put your dust tornado in the graveyard, stuff like that. And I was like, man, I'm glad I didn't have to tell this guy, like I didn't want to feel like I sharked him or whatever, even though he did misplay blatantly, but the judge was standing right there, and he was like, no, you flipped that dust tornado, so it's activated. And yeah, so I was just talking about my experience over and over, and the rounds I lost because I didn't go undefeated or anything, and there was a part where I just felt they're like, all right, God, we get it, right? Like, we're happy for you, we congratulated you, we celebrate it, but like, how long is this going to go on for? And obviously in that moment, you like, I was not aware, I was not very self-aware because I was just so in my own world.
Yes,
because it's unlike anything else. Now it's, you know, it's different. I'm way older, I'm way more like emotionally mature and more self-aware, of course, but at that first one, I just really was, oh my
it's
God,
all you can think about. It's like, did I actually get here? It like,
yeah.
the stars aligned and I actually did it. Like, that is just, yeah. Oh, it's such a good feeling. And it's just, I don't think I'll ever forget, like, it's like that moment. It's crazy how like you just played the whole freaking day of Yu-Gi-Oh! That's all you did. And then as soon as you win, like everything just like comes back. You're like, holy shit, round 1, round 2, round 3, round 4, round 5. Like,
Yeah.
like you're doing your deck profile, you're like, yeah, I did all this. Like, this card was so good. And
you know
just
what
like,
no one talks about? The teasing. Your friends, your closest friends, they tease us for winning. Like Cairo, for example, after I won YCS Atlanta way back when, every time he would see me, he would go, is that the Frazier Smith? And he still does that shit to me today. Like today, he still does that to me. When he sees me and we're at like anything Yu-Gi-Oh related, if we're at any event, he'll pretend like he doesn't fucking know me. And when I'm talking to people who I genuinely do not know, he'll be like, oh my God, is that the Frazier Smith? And that's a joke or like a thing that so many of my friends do from my locals and even from the Jersey locals, because they're kind of locals too. A shout out to the entire Jersey local. I love all of you guys. You know who you are. But yeah, that whole crowd, like they'll tease me. They do this thing that's really funny. When we go to YCSs, we'll all go together. Like they'll be my ride there. We'll get to the YCS, we'll walk in the convention center, and they'll all walk away from me and go, all right, well, we know we're not allowed to be seen with you anymore, Frazier, because you're that guy. So enjoy your event. We'll see you on Sunday when it's time to take you back home. And like, they like literally will avoid me the whole weekend, and when they see me, they'll be like, oh my God, I can't be seen with you because I know that you're like so famous and we're just peasants and stuff. So they fucking tease me, bro. Like they tease me, man.
yeah, it's like a good tease though. But I do remember in line for RVT Orlando, because Nats like just happened right before Orlando, and Kalenda won. And then when Kalenda got in line for Nats, I immediately did the exact same thing to him. I was like, oh my God, is that the national champ, Matt Kalenda? And he hates that stuff. He hates that stuff.
McCabe and Kalenda are the same person. They don't like any attention. They're insane players, both with the Worlds, both did a bunch of stuff. They can't stand it. So it's really funny to them. Me, I can handle it, right? Like I'm a content creator, for God's sakes. Attention is not something that I run away from. But like, it still was so awkward. Like if I could blush, I would. Because every time they do it, I'm just so embarrassed. Like, oh my God, is that D. Frazier Smith? Can I get a picture? Can you sign my Necro Valley in my butt cheeks? And they just like, my friends are crazy. Like they just say the most wild things to me when I'm in public with Yu-Gi-Oh players.
Kalenda's reaction was like a really pissed off face. He's like, we don't do that here.
Yeah, I like that.
Like,
the
okay.
Chadwick Boseman thing. The second time winning felt way better. And you guys can literally see it in almost every video that I put on the channel, where you can see how elated I am that I won, because that meant a lot to me to defeat my own imposter syndrome and to feel like I am, you know, good at the game, and just like validation, something that I seek from within myself. Like I don't really put it on other people. Like that win was for me. It wasn't for anyone else. Like that winning Indianapolis, it just really felt way more amazing, because obviously I played competitive Yu-Gi-Oh for a very long time, from 2010 and you know the ARG days, and then I quit in 2016, beginning of 2017 era, stayed down for 6 years and then came back to the game. And yeah, it's just knowing if you can still do it, right? Knowing if you still have it, because Edison is not sweet. It's not easy. Like the format is not easy. And there was a period where I was like not able to top at all, and I was still trying to figure out what deck I wanted to play, what decks I thought were good and stuff like that. And then I started getting my first tops last year, and I discovered what my deck was, which was Frogs. And then the top started rolling in, and then the in real life Konami started the Ultimate Time Wizard, which was the best thing to happen. Then I topped the very first one of that, got top 4 at that, top Richmond after that, and then you know Indianapolis won. So between my first top in Edison to my last top, which was a win, that whole period was me soul searching and seeing if I could still do the thing. And once I accomplished it, it just felt overwhelming and I could not sleep. And I told you about this, and I think I mentioned this. I did not sleep for 40 hours after winning Indianapolis. So I stayed up from that Sunday. I woke up that Sunday at 6 a.m. because I was talking to Simo. The morning that I won, Simo was in Japan with his wife, and he texted me saying, I hope you, because this was in top 8 was posted. He said, I hope I wake up to you holding a giant JD. And we were texting at 6:30 a.m. on Sunday that I won, right? I win the event. I don't get home until Monday, and I stay up until like some crazy time into Monday, almost Tuesday, I think, and like with no sleep, literally no sleep. And I remember Simo messaged me, he was like, oh my fucking God, let's go. I really woke up to you holding a giant JD. I'm so happy for you. And like everything about that win, everyone messaging me, because now people know who I am. I'm not just like a random guy who won a tournament. Now it's like, oh shit, this guy who I was already rooting for, this guy who I've been following for years and years and years, he won. And that did feel good. Like the validation from everyone else felt good, but it felt so much better for myself, for my own like imposter syndrome to be quelled and all of that stuff. Like now, no matter what happens in Edison, if I never top again, even though I already have with Black Wings like a week ago, but even if I never top again, never win again, I'm actually content with my placing in Yu-Gi-Oh because I can still do it. And I've already proved that to myself and to everyone else, but mostly to myself.
Yeah, for me, it was I never traveled as a kid to anything, so I never really got to prove anything at all.
Yeah.
I was absolute ass back then anyway, so it wouldn't have mattered. I would have just gotten creamed. But after retro started, I took it a lot more seriously and didn't have like a 16-year-old brain. And yeah, being able to prove it to myself definitely mattered a lot more than it did anything. Yeah.
I mean, you did it twice, bro, in less than a year. You won 2 big events in less than a year. That is a very big feat.
So I will say though, the Orlando one felt kind of fake. I don't know why. RBT is not a Konami event.
Right.
I know it's a big tournament. It's still Edison event. So I understand. Yeah. It's not like it's nothing to me, but I don't feel like it's as clouded as, I guess, if that makes sense. And I was not as good as I think I should be to win an event, if that makes sense. Like I wasn't bad per se, but I was not like at that level yet. Like Kalenda was teaching me and I was like, okay, this is how good I have to be. I have to be as good as Kalenda to win an event. And I was not there yet. So when I won that, it felt fake. And then I started grinding more. And then Raleigh felt a lot better because that one I feel like I actually deserved. Even though I definitely sacked way harder at Raleigh than I did at Orlando. But I felt like I deserved it more, if that makes sense.
Hey,
so
listen,
it was,
everyone knows my famous quote at this point in the format. If you win an event, you're most likely good, but you're definitely lucky.
Yep, 100%.
Right? Like there's a high chance that you're good if you win the entire event, right? But it doesn't necessarily mean that you are guaranteed to be good because obviously anyone could technically win. But 100% you are also lucky, at least that weekend. And everyone has luck, so it's not like, I'm not saying that to say that Yu-Gi-Oh is just luck because I don't want that to also be misconstrued. Like obviously there's a good amount of skill that goes into it, which is why the same people usually do top and win tournaments over time. But luck is just a part of the game. It's a card game. Luck is a part of every card game. And you just have to maximize it. And as a good player, it is our job to maximize the luck because you're going to get lucky at times. You're going to get unlucky at times. You have to minimize when you get unlucky, right? You have to minimize the damage from it. And you have to maximize when you get lucky that you can capitalize on it because you put yourself in a good position. That's something that Billy Break also kind of taught me is that like, yes, because he acknowledges that he's lucky as well. And he was like, yes, I'm lucky, but I always try to play where I'm in a position to be lucky. Like I'll play to the one Monster Reborn. And I'll never forget one time in Tengu playing format, he loses the game if he doesn't specifically draw Monster Reborn in his 26 card deck. And he goes draw and literally doesn't even look at it and just says like, this is going to be Monster Reborn because I played to it being that. I did all of these plays that might be a little like weird or wrong to get to this exact position where if I draw Reborn here, I win. And it was Reborn and he was like, he slammed it, was like, and then just went off and won the game. And I was like, you are so fucking cracked at this game, bro. Like you are so insane. But winning is an insane feeling, guys. Like it actually does feel incredible, but it also doesn't feel real. You wake up the next day and you kind of wonder, did that really happen?
I know Yu-Gi-Oh's our own little stratosphere, but when you win, you really do feel like you're on top of the world. It's I don't know how to explain it. Like you're just a guy playing Yu-Gi-Oh, but the fact that you can feel like you're number one on top of all these other guys, it's just like the fact that you validate yourself. Oh God, dude, I don't know how to explain that. I wish we could explain the feeling. It's just such a good high.
It is a very good high, and it takes a while to come down. You remember the week that I went to Indianapolis? I just was still, no matter every time we talked, I was like, bro, I'm still.
I was like, yeah, you are. Hell yeah, you are, man. This is such a good.
It just doesn't go away. It's a really pleasant feeling. I wish it on everyone, honestly. Oh, well, there is our time. Well, I hope you guys did enjoy this episode of the Rush Hour podcast. And yeah, let us know what you guys think about the idea of winning and just like if you ever won anything, even if it's not necessarily, you know, a major tournament, right? It could be anything. You ever won your locals, you ever won a 3v3 with your friends, you ever won anything at all, any kind of competition at all, right? No matter how big or how small. Let us know your experience with the feeling of your first win, because we were talking about literally our first wins and stuff. So let us know how that felt for you. Share your experience in the comment section. Let us know. But yeah, we'll catch you in the next one. Peace.